fisherman, and this is my opposition to the Pebble Mine.
One of the things that we have seen over the years is the decline in the salmon on the Koktuli. The river is dead. What happened? Why did it happen? Maybe it's the 1,200 holes that they digged, and maybe it's because they're digging in an acidic soil. Maybe it's because they're using drilling muds that is not supposed to be used around salmon streams. There are a lot of unanswered scientific questions that needs to be asked and answered.
And my question is, during this exploration phase, could digging into this type of soil, such as acidic, could it have run off and harmed that stream and killed the salmon in that area?
I mean, I think there's a pretty strong commitment about managing any water runoff, soil disturbance associated with exploration.
This was mainly a desktop study, is that correct, for the soils? Was there very much on the ground truthing what the soils were, or was it basically literature review?
Yeah, really just some of the soil thicknesses in the mine study area.
Is really the only kind of ground truthing that we have.
Yeah, when we were out there in late August, there was some reclamation work at the individual drill sites, and unfortunately we didn't get to go over and check those out, but I'd like to see those at some point and see what kind of vegetation is being used and that sort of thing. But there is a very strong effort on your part to...
There's no direct input of the water from the drilling programs into the streams. It's all accumulated in the tundra. So yeah, to me it seems like everything's being done as possible to minimize any of that soil running off into the water.
The people that depend on that river, that have gone up there and watched that river thrive for thousands of years, and all of a sudden, within 1 decade, it's wiped out.
I might chime in here. This is an important question, but I think it maybe more appropriately can be discussed with the water quality on Thursday when that subject comes up, and also with the fisheries panel discussion, which is next week. Can we go to the next question?
What's the evidence of the Castle Mountain Fault being either inactive or not active in that area?
The faults that I spoke about in the deposit area are small-scale faults that are not really associated with the Castle Mountain Fault.
Okay. So does the critique indicates that there could be some evidence the Castle Mountain Fault is active in that area. Do you know if that's true or not?
I'm assuming that'll be covered in the seismicity portion later today.
About the 0.42% copper, for example, does that mean that like over 99% of all that is going to be mined is going to be waste?
So, yes, you're correct. The remaining 99.6% is effectively waste.
If Pebble, for example, is already violating the permits and the agreements with the state of Alaska, what can we expect in the future?
The permits, I don't really know what that's about. Ask me about physiography.
I'm wondering for the panelists if you guys were provided with the comments that state and federal agency scientists provided to the Pebble Partnership like a long time ago about the initial study designs that they started around 2003 or 2004. And if not, I'd like to just make a comment about them. Have you guys seen those? So I think you're at a disadvantage today with this process, and I'm sorry that that's how we're spending our time when there's so many unknowns and everyone's still struggling with so many things. I mean, I think I'm one of the stakeholders that this process was set up by Keystone to try to educate and inform more about the baseline data. Unfortunately, I'm leaving with a lot more questions than answers. But I do know, and it is a matter of public record, that when the baseline studies first started, and I was, commercial fishing and making my living in Bristol Bay at that time, there, again, Pebble tried to do a process that was somewhat similar to this. It was called the Scientific Technical Working Groups, and they shared study designs and asked for state and federal agencies to provide comments and feedback, which they did. However, a lot of it was critical, and a lot of it questioned methodology, scope of studies, questions that were being asked, et cetera. And I do not believe that those questions and concerns by scientists at that time were ever adequately addressed. So now we're just looking at this raw data, and I disagree with you that it could be data just for data. I think data is controlled by the question that's asked when you seek to collect it, and I'm very concerned about the questions that were asked. I think that there is something to hide, that they're not presenting that today, and I think that you are at a disadvantage because you can't see that and you didn't see the study designs before you were asked to decide whether or not this data set is adequate for eventually planning or permitting a mine. It's just bogus. It's disappointing.
The Keystone approach. I felt ice there this morning. It was quiet. And they were directed only wanting to put out their information and disregarding some of the other science that has been done in our area. They mention nothing about that science. When we talk about science, we want to be inclusive also of all of those that have studied the fish, the ways to keep them going, generations after generations. Thanks for the unity that we see here today. We need to be strong.
I'm a local fisherman, fishing all time, heading to the line. I'm doing 30 knots, gonna catch another fish, so make another dime. Spending all my time on the boat, diving.